And hello and welcome to the continuation of this, our Sunset Safari. Welcome live to Chitwa Private Game Reserve, as it happens, which is in the greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa, where we are on a live safari. Be quiet, Egyptian geese, I'm talking. Yes, you. Talking to you. I'm being overshadowed by a pair of geese. Happens often here. Remember, this is a live safari, which means that you can send through your questions on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, alternatively in the YouTube comments section. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon Darby is on camera with me once again, and we're sitting, actually, be quiet, Darby. They remind me of certain members of our camp, as it happens. Shame it's not. Those are the innocent ones. It's the ones further to the left that are making all the racket. Those are the quiet people. It's not those ones either. They're just having their breakfast or lunch. It's the ones even further to the left that are making a racket. Now even they're eating. Are you done now? Are you finished making noise? There are more Egyptian geese in the open area by Chitwa Waterhole than anywhere else on the planet. This is the largest meta population in Africa. I made that up. I don't know if that's the case. There's quite a few geese here. I do not think it is the largest population in Africa, just to clarify. Possibly one of the densest populations of Egyptian geese. Oh, well, why are we sitting here? Because I'm waiting for my turn to go and have a look at what's happening at the dam. Do you see that hornbill over there on the dead leadwood? It's to the left of it's the left-hand sort of limb. There you go, perfect, well done, Dave. It just ducked its head into a hollow on the side of the tree there, which makes me think perhaps it is nesting somewhere in there. Shame, look how hot it is. It's panting. It's exhausted. It's obviously had a very busy day, whether it's nest building or perhaps even feeding its female companion, who would have ducked into the hollow in the tree at this point and could well be in there now for her period of her confinement. Alrighty. Okay, while we wait patiently for our turn to make our way to the edge of the water to see what the hippopotamus are up to, let's go back and join Dave in the Mara, whose sausage tree lions are being playful.
Well, I would request Lou at one point to ask Jamie for me what might have happened to the missing goslings. I think it was Beaufort Hawk Dam. We had some goslings from some Egyptian geese that one day we all woke up and went on a game drive and we never saw them. And I don't know whether they have had anybody trying to unravel the disappearance of those goslings. Well, my cubs are here. They have not disappeared and they're not going anywhere. And to our regular viewers, a very warm welcome from the Mara Triangle in Kenya. It's very exciting to have you. My name is David, as usual, that has not changed with me. Manu, how are you doing? Very good. So we got the sausage trip ride with us, and remember, we have already requested you for one thing: questions, comments, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Sounds good? And you can also keep following us on the YouTube chat stream. Now, this is the sausage trip ride. 5 females in total and 3 cubs. 2 of the cubs 3 months, 1 cub 2 months old. Now, 1 female is missing, and we do not know where she is. I've been guessing it's one that I thought was very pregnant. Now, this female here is so playful. Look at that. We call her Limpy. If you see her walking, she limps. And we thought during the last migration, when, of course, on a hunt, she might have strained, either an ankle or part of her foot, and she picked some little damage, and which has not recovered very fully. And you'll see her walking much better than she was maybe a few months ago. And of the 5 females in this pride, she is the most playful. And she got the youngest cub, who we think is about 2 months old. It's a boy. We have been able to verify that. And as I said, of the 5 females, she's the most playful, and she loves playing with cubs. That's exactly what might have been saying a few minutes ago. Now, 2 of these cubs are here, and their mother is not even bothered to find out what they're doing. But I think she knows they're full of nonsense, full of energy, and the 3rd cub has come to join the 2. So the 2 brothers, and all the 3 cubs are boys. You see her walking style? She limps a little bit. You have to watch her very carefully. And she's so much in love with her cub, and she is always very close to him. She'll always encourage them to keep playing, which definitely helps these cubs, to strengthen their muscles, making them fit. When maybe in a couple of months, time will come for them to be introduced to the world of hunting. I'm sure the mother or Limp will be happy to know she will have a cub that can hunt or can fend for himself. Now the 2 males around this area, let's see what you can see. You see that Limp? You see that? That's how we call her Limpy. There's another female here that we call the kinktail. Not sure she's the one laying with the tummy up or legs up, but we call her kinktail because she got a knot on her tail. And she is the oldest of the 5 females, and we're guessing she's about 7 or 8 years old. And she is like the leader of this pride. We are very close to the Kenya-Tanzania border, or we are very close to Serengeti National Park. And in the background there, what you see is the Ololor escarpment. And this particular pride have reigned and lived in this territory for a very long time. And the other day, I started calling this territory the Sausage Republic, because they defend the territory so fearlessly. They never entertain any other lions within this area. Well, the males or the coalition males will come in and go. And before the current 2 males that we think have fathered these 3 cubs came in, there was another coalition that was led by another very famous male that we call Kipuli. Kipuli because he has a split nose, and Kipuli may translate to something like that, or having an earring on the nose. But for a couple of months now, we have not been seeing that male. So we think the 2 males now might have overthrown that coalition of Kipuli. Those 2 males, we call them the Oldonyo Pike coalition, and they're in charge of these 4 girls here. Maybe now the other mother is starting out to be involved in play. She seemed to be just enjoying the snooze. But I think one of the cubs like, it's playtime, Mum. We have wonderful weather. We are all full. Why don't you want to play with us? So full of energy. And that's see them playing hide and seek. And you can hear them running through the grass there. But either way, you get 1 or 2 females staying awake and having a look. Becky, thank you very much for your comment. This is the most adorable thing, and I can tell you, Becky, I am not going anywhere. I am staying here as long as it takes, or as long as these cubs, Becky, keep entertaining us. I don't know what other viewers would think. I want to give you a small little tweet today from these cubs playing and jumping up and down, and just send me one word. Becky already said adorable. Me, I would say, let me look for a word. It's just terrific. I'm not sure that makes any sense, but send me a 1 tweet word, hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, of what you think of these cubs. So I think they're 1 month apart in terms of age, but when they play, you might think they're all the same age. To the lions, 1 month is very small in terms of behavior, and especially so in the cubs. This is becoming very entertaining. I'll be waiting for your tweets. Ladies and gentlemen, all nice viewers, let me know what you think of these playful cubs here. But in the meantime, we'll take you again back to South Africa to James Henry and find out whether his cats are up to anything or not.
Well, our lions are not up to a great deal, which is not that surprising. The other 2 went north into Buffelshoek, And quite interestingly, of course, they started mating as the school drive went live earlier this afternoon. They continued to mate with each other throughout the school drive, and of course we weren't allowed to show that to the children. The teachers said that basically, I don't blame them. They didn't feel like explaining that to their kids. Yes, I believe that is the privilege of the parent. Anyway, these lot didn't do anything. And then the other two, as we came live with the regular show, they headed off north into Buffelshoek. Hook. And quite interestingly also, the male there, not nearly as relaxed as this chap. This chap's got a much blonder mane, and he's much more relaxed than his slightly darker maned cohort, who turned around and hissed at us 5 or 6 times as we followed him up the road and into Buffelshoek. Very odd. Anyway, Buffelshoek, for those of you who are perhaps new viewers, are reserved to the north of us. There is no fence between us and Buffelshoek, but we cannot go there. It is out of bounds. We do not have permission. I think he's now wondering where his friend has gone. His friend and his girlfriend. Exhausting day he's had of lying down, doing nothing. We caught them having one mating event today. That was early this morning, and since then I'm not sure they've done a great deal. I think this is the same pair that we found exactly a week ago, just before that monstrous storm that took place. It was on a Wednesday afternoon. That was last week. And I think that you'll find that her estrus is coming to an end. So we chatted a little bit about estrus earlier today on Drive. I was obviously on camera, and Jackie and Trishala and Holy Chloe were in the hot seat here. And we said that estrus can last about 10 days. It actually can last about 20 days. So in the inter-estrus period can last about 20 days, but the actual mating period often only about 4 or 5. So I think that she's probably coming to the end of her serious kind of estrus period, and she must be into the inter-estrus stage, because they're not mating nearly as much as the other two were. No, I'm afraid, Lauren, I didn't get a good look. I don't know which other lioness was mating with that other Avoca male. I'm afraid she didn't actually turn around. By the time we got there to follow her, all we had was her back end. So I don't know who it was. I would love to have found out, but I'm afraid I can't tell you. Everyone, of course, wants amber eyes to have babies, but I think she's been with the other group in the pride, sort of always looking after the youngsters, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think it's her. Anyway, time will tell, time will tell. Not so. I think we'll probably sit here another 10 minutes or so, and then we'll press on and see if we can't help find a leopard. Apparently a leopard crossed onto Djuma, somewhere around the southeastern boundary sometime this morning. We'll see if we can't perhaps catch up with whatever leopard that is, because these guys are going to put me to sleep, a little bit like a dormicum. Oh, sadly, this is one of the greatest misconceptions about lions, is that there is some sort of dominance hierarchy amongst these coalitions. There is no dominance hierarchy, Sammy. If they are the same size, they will all have mating opportunities, almost equal mating opportunities. Only one brother will have a female while she's in one particular cycle, so he will dominate mating, and there's often little fighting over it once the mating starts. They do compete, however, for mating opportunities when females come into estrus, and there can be a big and nasty fight. And then once the mating starts, it just depends who happened to kind of come out on top as to who mates. But there is no hierarchy enforced within a coalition of male lions, unless one is bigger than the other, and in that case he will by default be more dominant than the other. And the quite interesting example, of course, was the first lions that I knew in this area, the Matimbas. One, hairy belly, was a big black mane lion. His brother, who we called, what did we call him, Ginger or something, he had slightly redder hair, not nearly as much size to him, and he didn't manage to do nearly as much mating as his brother, because don't know if they were brothers, they were certainly cousins, but one was noticeably bigger than the other, and that established a hierarchy. Paula, we don't really think so, no. I mean, look, the fastest way to end up with people pointing fingers in your face is to give a categorical answer. So I'm going to say no. As far as I'm aware, multi-paternity in a litter of lions is highly unlikely because of this sort of, what should we say, because of this habit, if you like, that they have of seeing out an estrus cycle. So this chap will see out the estrus cycle. If it is unsuccessful, she may then come into estrus again and mate with one of the other brothers, but by then I imagine that any sperm that he has deposited will be dead and flushed. But that is a good question. We're not sure in leopards, and we're still hoping and waiting to see if any of that data is forthcoming from Panthera, the leopard scat data that we helped them collect. And that was going to definitively tell us whose offspring were whose. Otherwise, things are very sleepy over here on this very quiet, very pleasant afternoon. It's not too hot, which is quite nice. Alrighty, let's go back to David Gatambikitu and his playful lions. I'm going to give these cats another, I'm going to say 7 minutes before I press on and see if we can find something else.
Well, talking of lions from Juma in South Africa, and back to the lions in Kenya. Now, these cubs now have had a little break, and they have having a commercial rest now after jumping up and down for the last, I would say, 35-40 minutes. And sometimes they'll also slow down, or sometimes you never know whether they get instructions from their mothers. Slow down now. You need to relax before you start jumping up and down again. You see all the black marks on their ears, behind their ears, which sometimes they have used them a lot as follow me sign when they walk in the grass. So we have always said the black marks there you can see on that particular one there, and also the black on the tip of the tail. They tend to use them a lot as follow me sign. Hazel, your one word to it is precious. I agree with you, that's pretty special. Precious is so good. Initially we had adorable, and then now we got precious, and I think I say terrific. Not sure whether that made any sense, but yes, precious is so very cool. And now look at that one now. I don't know what he is thinking or what he is looking at. Apparently of the three, the youngest, which is about 2 months old, is more playful than the other two, which is rather strange to me. Matt, you say fantastic, very good, fantastic, sounds very sweet, fantastic. It couldn't be any better than saying, you know, fantastic of these cubs, because they have really entertained us that last half an hour or so. And I'm sure it will not be long before again they start playing. What are you looking at? What can you see that I cannot see? The only thing I see in front of him is another female lioness and some elephant dung. Now, do you want to go wake up your mother? Or what do you want to do? She is so sleepy, just twitching the ears and the legs once in a while, but the front legs are like, you know, in a different world. I remember there was a little talk Jimmy had, and we were wondering when lions sleep, do they snore? And I think they do snore. But then again, we went as far as saying, do they dream? And if they dream, what do they dream about? And she thought if one day she would get into an animal's mind or head or brain as they're dreaming and maybe share with them their dreams. You can always tell an animal is dreaming because once in a while you see them twitching their leg, like that one there. They twitch that, they twitch their ears. As much as they're deep asleep, they flick their tails or they tend to wink. And I think that should be the same case with the human beings. I remember there was a time a doctor was carrying out a survey and was asking a patient, or was asking some medical students, do you dream when you sleep? And everybody kept saying, no, I do not dream. And the doctor was saying, you dream because if you close your eyes and you put a camera there at night, you'll see your eyes sometimes going like that, or you just moving your head like that, and that means you all dream. So what I want to do, I want to reposition myself and see whether you can see these cubs much better, and maybe see if the females are dreaming, and if they're dreaming, see whether you can understand their dreams. All right. Okay, you need to move forward slowly. Manu, let me know what's the position you want. We just want to get a better view of these cubs, because they might start playing again. One is just coming up. The youngest one, as I said, is always the most curious one, and he's always wanting to know what's happening to the outside world. I think it's the best location, and there we are. All right, you curious one, what do you want to tell us? I'm not sure, Manu, whether the other two are nursing there. Do you think they're nursing? The two on the other side. Do you want me to move forward a little bit? Or are you happy there? Okay, I think the two big ones could be nursing. Ravinda, good question. Are the cubs vulnerable, for example, to secretary birds? I do not think so. When the mothers go away, lions are very intelligent animals, intelligent cats, Ravinda, and they always make sure the place or the position they leave the cubs, it's very safe. But Ravinda, I want to let you know, about 2 weeks ago, I was out on a game drive in the morning, and I was looking for this pride Ravinda, and I did not see it. But when I was just about to give up, I saw two of the cubs that are 3 months on their own. And believe you me, I'm not sure whether that day Ravinda you're watching or you had, about 10-15 meters away was a leopard which was stalking those two cubs. And unfortunately, or fortunately, when I got there, this particular leopard moved away. That could have been a disaster. But what was even more interesting, the mothers were about 1 mile away from these cubs. I did not understand what was happening that day. Now, these cubs are having some nursing moment, and you can hear them there, scrolling as they nurse. Now, this female got two cubs that are 3 months, and Limpy got one that's 2 months. And it's so interesting because all of them are nursing at the same time. It's very synchronized. Either they got hungry at the same time, or the mothers were like, before it gets dark, it's time for you to nurse. How special is that? I'm not sure whether to ask for another tweet on this particular one. We saw them earlier playing, but now these cubs are having their early dinner. Well, hopefully they're going to get enough, because once it gets dark, the mothers will be pulling them in a quiet place. But now, let's first go back to South Africa, to Jamie, and find out whether his water point has any action.
The relatively normal standard action at Chitwa Waterhole. I'm desperately waiting for the day when the elephants come back for a swim, but that hasn't seemed to happen this year, despite the incredibly warm temperatures. But as usual, the Chitwa Waterhole filled with its massive pod of hippopotamus, one of the largest pods I think I've ever seen in this sort of area. There are so many hippo. Although now that it's rained a little bit and there are other water points with enough water to at least cover a hippo, they seem to have spread out a little bit. Now, last week, Friday or Saturday, I was with Dave, and I mentioned that we were going to try and come back after the cold front that was predicted, and we were going to take a screenshot of the view. Now, Dave and I have just been trying to remember roughly where it was that we were positioned, but Dave thinks that that's around about right. where he is now. So if you were watching on that particular safari and you are watching now, send through the comparison screenshots on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or in the YouTube comment section. I don't know, can you attach images to a YouTube comment? Probably not, come to think of it, in which case I apologize, there's nothing you can do. But you can have a look in your own right. Alright, so sorry about that. I've never used YouTube chat in my life, so it suddenly occurred to me probably that you couldn't. Otherwise YouTube would be even more of an awful place than it already can sometimes be. So yes, if you can, send through your comparisons. It is not as full, or at least there's not as much more, there's not more water. What am I trying to say? It hasn't rained as much as I thought it would, is what I'm trying to say. There's not much more water. There's not... Why is this such a hard sentence to formulate? There's less water than I expected. I thought there was going to be more rain. Ouch, fly. Eek. It wasn't a mosquito, Dave. It was a biting fly. It's still in here, savaging my ankles. No, I missed him. He's gone now. But he bit my ankle. It's making me itch. Those are the flies that you see making the ears of the lions twitch. Otherwise, not much happening here at Chitwa. The odd hippo was up and out of the water when we first arrived. And I think because although it is warm in the sun, this wind that's coming in is still keeping the temperature down a little bit. So it's not hot. There you go. You can actually see it's quite shallow in there. Every time one of the hippos stands up, they sort of crouch down on the sand, and when they stand up you can see that it actually probably, where those hippos are, it's probably only about 2 feet high, maybe not even, in depth. Oh, big yawn. Oh, that was a very protracted yawn. Most of the time when hippo yawn like that, it is of course a threat display, showing off their massive tusks, and occasionally accompanying it with a little dance. There's a little baby hippo resting on mom's back. They can't swim, and if they can't swim and they can't stand wherever mom is, then what they will do is they will rest on her back. When I say they can't swim, it's not as though if you chucked a baby hippo into a deep water hole, it would drown. It would sink to the bottom and it would run along the bottom and it would bounce up to the surface and have a breath every now and again. So it's a bit of a sort of, it's not a good way of phrasing it to say that hippo can't swim. They can move very elegantly through water. Oh, there's the croc, Dave. Popped out. It's back on the island. If you go onto this island in front of us, sorry, I got distracted by the game drive radio. There we go. There's a little crocodile. How old are they at this point? 2 years? Not quite. 1.5 years. I've lost track of time completely, but I think they hatched around about the time that no, sorry, I'm distracted by the game drive radio. Give me one second. Northeast. Rick, sorry, what was that? Is that a big crocodile there, down to the left of the island? Sorry, I'm just leaving Dave to his own devices because I'm trying to find out. Stations, what was that by Green Pan? Tell me. Okay, copy, thanks. Probably in Kanyeni. Tell me. Okay, copy. Thanks very much. Right, sorry everyone. I was getting overly excited there, but by the sound of something being called in that I wanted to just double check and make sure it wasn't Tandi and Hlalamba, because that's where I'm heading off to next. That's who I'm going to go and search for. Unfortunately, it sounds as though it's quarantine, which would be wonderful, except he's in a no signal area. Right, we're going to move on, most likely from Chitwa Dam, see if I can focus my attentions in on a little Hlalamba. While we do that, let's go across to Dave in the Maasai Mara to find out what he's up to now.
Well, Jimmy, good luck, and hopefully you're going to get those cuts. I'll be very excited if I hear news of Hlalamba and Tandi. You never know. Now, back with my lions, and that is one of the males. I was talking about the coalition that is in charge of the Sausage Republic, and that's called the Ondonyo Pike Coalition. The two boys, and they're holding this territory with all their legs and hands, making sure no other males come by. Now, one cub stopped nursing, but the other two are still feeding. And what a peaceful moment they got. There's something very special with lions, or lionesses rather, where they do what you call allo nursing. So these two cubs are nursing the biological mother, because I know the mother. I've been following them for quite some time. But I'll not be surprised even the other cub whose mother is limpy would come and also nurse on this particular one. That happens a lot, and what these females will always try to do is to enhance, in a way, their genes to the cubs. You know, as they keep nursing, it gives them better bonding with this female or that particular female, not necessarily their mother. Hello there. And you can see slightly bit of about amount of fur coming out on his neck, definitely telling that he is a male, 100%, apart from the obvious difference, telling or separating males from females. I mean, that's a really thorny bush, and I think they found the neck. Oh, did you get hurt? I don't know. Or are you trying to smell or sniff at something? Maybe he's trying to encourage the other two to finish nursing quickly, then they start playing before darkness comes in. One thing these cubs have known by now, once it gets dark, is always time is up for play. I was saying earlier, of the three, this one is the most playful one. But you can see these two here just nursing. Lionesses have two pairs of mammary glands, and I'm sure each one of them is getting the top. And I don't know at what point they'll always swap to go to nurse on the other mammary glands. But you can see how synchronized they are at the same time, like sucking at the same time. Not sure what quantity of milk they would be able to nurse in one sitting. A few ounces? I have no idea. It's just very difficult, I'm sure, to calibrate that, unless maybe you have already estimated or have weighed the lioness and known its weight. And then, of course, after this session of nursing is over, you put it again on the scale, and you'll have an idea how many liters, or not liters, definitely how many ounces or what amount of millimeter cubed these calves might have taken from their mother. This one is full, and she's just laying there. And the other two females are just flat. Of these two, one of them is Kingtail, and unless I see the tail, I would be able to give you an idea who Kingtail is. And Kingtail, for those who have never joined us before, this is the Sausage Tree Pride. 5 females when they're all together. Ramona, good question, and you want to know if there's another pregnant lioness in this pride, and it's that exact one that Manu is showing you, which I have done so many mistakes in the last, I would say, 2 weeks. I've always been estimating tomorrow she's having cubs, Next week she's having cubs. I am now keeping quiet, and I apologize to this particular female for maybe not becoming anywhere close to a gynecologist to have an idea or an estimate when it should be dropping her young ones. Well, 100, 105 days is the normal gestation period for lionesses, but I think either she looks too big and I was like, she's too close, or maybe she's carrying 4 cubs, who knows, or maybe just 2 that are very big, because at one point I thought the belly looked so big, Ramona, and I thought she would drop the young ones anytime. Ramona also, Kingtail, who is the oldest of the females here, is also pregnant, and my guess is the other one will give birth before Kingtail. If that doesn't work out, I'm looking at Kingtail bringing us the good news at, or in 2019, and it'll be wonderful to have a new year with new cubs. Who knows? I'm trying to guess that's Kingtail. Looking closely on her tail. If you look carefully, yes. Thank you, Kinky, for listening. See, she got a note as she is getting a little irritated by those flies, and she got a note on her tail, and that's why we call her Kingtail. And we think she is the oldest. Not really think she is. And I want to move a little forward, and so they can change that angle. Are you happy there? Very good. So, what do you want to see, Manu? You want to see the sky? Manu, I've always liked seeing the sunset, and he thinks it's good to show the sunset and have a little bit break from the monotony of the lions, which I think is equally good. And we have a tree there, which is giving us very good natural framing. How wonderful is that sunset? I've always wondered if the animals will always tell. Of course, because of daylight, and when it gets too dark, they can tell that. But I wonder how many animals in the wilderness will enjoy the sunrises or the sunsets as we equally do. Well, out in the bush, there's one thing I've noticed Manu never misses. It's either a good sunset or good sunrise, which of late I've been calling the golden moments of Africa wilderness. Look at those thick clouds on top of the western horizon. I may keep down for a few seconds and see if they can hear any birds chirping in the background as we enjoy that golden moment of the sunset. That's just marvelous. When the thunderstorms have now died down, and we're going to go back to our cats. Sorry about my head. My head is not as good as those lions. But there's one cub that have always come close to us every one time he decides to investigate what we are up to, or who we are, what you're made of. Hello there. I like your tongue, eh? What could be in your head? Bob, what's the distance a lioness should go to get food? And I'll tell you, it will depend on the availability of food. Oh, well, sorry, Bob, I missed your question completely. And the one female that you're missing here, I do not know where she is and why she's not here. Not sure the other one is pregnant, but it will depend on the area they think it is safe for them to give birth. If they get a convenient den or a hole or some nice covered area or vegetation, they would give birth wherever. So it always depends on the availability of a safe area. Now, the one that is missing, I highly doubt she's pregnant, and because she's on her own, I'm thinking she could be hunting, or she got some kill somewhere, or where we are, because we had passed here, I would say an hour ago, and we did not see these lionesses here with their cubs. She might have remained back with the kill. I'm guessing they have a kill. A few days ago, they brought down a huge buffalo, and I'm thinking they might have brought down something else, and most likely they'll always leave one lioness guarding the kill. Hello. You're always so curious. We have wonderful light now coming through. and my golden moment is just shedding some beautiful light to these cubs. Well, let's think of amphibians now and find out what amphibian James got.
Right, well, we've got a piece of grass. Isn't that amazing, Sebastian? Beautiful, gorgeous piece of grass over here. Really very nice. We've got some clay, some soil, some water, and a hippopotamus. We are here at Beefle's Hook Waterhole, and there is a hippopotamus, possibly our old friend Scuba, but I'm not sure. He got up, gave us a yawn as we arrived, probably decided that he was going to leave if we came too close, and then decided against it, because finally there's a bit of water in Beefle's Hook Waterhole. Not a lot, mind, but enough to keep a hippopotamus cool on a warm afternoon like this. He's very tired. You can see his eyes are closing and opening, closing and opening. It's one of those afternoons, I tell you, it's very soporific out here. The lovely, lovely little northwest breeze blowing. Temperature's very pleasant in the shade. Birds like the black-crowned chagra going, just sort of lulling one into a sense of sweet repose. Anyway, I wasn't really asleep there, although I tell you what, if I'd pretended to be asleep for another second, I probably would have been asleep. Just want you to listen carefully to one other sound before we move on from here. Not the noisy kingfisher. It sounds like a drunk hoopoe. Instead of going boop boop, boop boop, it's going boop boop. Boop, 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 boop. And it is, of course, the African cuckoo. That's how I always remember it. It sounds like a drunk hoopoe going whoop whoop, whoop whoop whoop, whoop whoop, whoop whoop. All right, let's leave this young bull hippopotamus. I'm pretty sure that's what he is. A young bull excluded from more salubrious neighborhoods like Chitwa, and that's not surprising given how little water there is in the Chitwa Dam. Well, he's going to have to make his way here at Beefle's Hook Waterhole. Perhaps he will make himself a colony of his own. Colony? Well, I suppose it could start as a colony. Pod is what I meant. Righty, on we go. Now, apparently I am supposed to give you the answer to the great quiz that is Tracking Tuesdays, which of course was yesterday, being Tuesday. Today is Wednesday, the day that we give the answer to Tuesday's Tracking Tuesday quiz. And I was hoping to find you the real thing. I may not be too late, actually. No. Nothing there. All right, Louise, are you ready? Here we go. Let me just load the image on my telephone here. Let me see if Siri can do it. Siri, load the image for Tracking Tuesdays immediately, you old bag. No response. So are we still connected to the final control? Final control? Oh no, I'm not. I unplugged myself. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Let's hope nobody sends me any dirty messages while we're live on the phone. There it is, as you can see, a beautifully taken photograph with a steel ruler in it. Can you see the beautifully taken photograph? Yeah, I took that myself, actually, just outside the camp on a termite mound. Now, I believe that we had a number of answers, most common and correct answer being a civet or a serval. Yep, there we go. Thank you, Louise. Louise sent me a message that said, dirty message. I've removed it. That's very funny. The most common incorrect, civet or serval. Now, a civet or a serval, not too bad an answer. Civets are quite easy to distinguish from all the rest, actually, because they are more omnivorous, I suppose, than the rest, and they also eat millipedes, which means that what you'll find in their dung is the sort of white shells of millipedes quite often, and often in summer you'll find gruvia berries in their dung as well. So that's civets. Serval dung, well, a serval is a cat, so basically you will find a whole lot of nasty black dung, probably a little bit bigger than this, like a house cat's dung. If you've ever had the displeasure of cleaning out a house cat's litter box, you will know exactly what I mean. This is dwarf mongoose dung. You can see it is the longest piece is about an inch long, very longest piece. Most of them about half an inch in length, and they're always found, normally found, on a termite mound. All right. So that was the answer to Tracking Tuesdays. Thank you to all of you who took part in Tracking Tuesdays. Now you have the answer. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope it made your Tuesday. This is my concluding look that I'm giving you. Right, on we go. I believe there was a Talamati male that had murdered a buffalo here 2 days ago. We'll see if he's still around. Not sure how we missed him entirely. A Talamati young male killed the buffalo on his own. Young buffalo, not an adult. Do you see him, Sebastian? Do you see a young male lion eating a buffalo anywhere? No? Okay, good. Let's keep trying. I don't copy Louise. I keep sitting on my thingy. What did she say? Itsagile ngopfu kumvona inkwenu le xikolweni hananani itsagile ngopfu ndila ku mi byela ku hi vutisa swivutiso loko mi la ku tiva swilo swa nova kwalani hi ta ringeta ku kuma swiharhi swi tele namuntlha kumbexani ti nga kuma nghala la tolo ngokunangala ije nyari kwalani somewhere ita ringeta ku ikuma and letanyana ita famba hi south ita ringeta ku kuma yingwe. Okay, vito ra me James, invito ra camera Sebastian. Okay, here we go. Keep looking around for interesting animals. And also, of course, we can look at the trees. Switlatla. Switele, mingavona. Swinyanyana, swikona. And ile kusuhi ka Dixie, I'm sure ndimzelile last time. Ile kusuhi ile ka Djuma Game Reserve. 4 kilometers from Dixie. Nashinyanyana la shichachiwe manyane tifambile. Sorry, I found him. But that is sometimes the case. It's not always that we will have lots and lots of animals to see. But we also have somebody else out here. Jamie, ulega south, na yena aringete kukuma ingwe.
I am looking for ingwe, and a very warm welcome to the Dixie and Utah community members joining us. Look at what we have over here, and I don't want to get too close in case I scare them away. It looks as though we've got a couple of battaliers or short-tailed snake eagles, and I confess I've got absolutely no idea what the Shangaan name is for a battalier. These are young battaliers who have not yet got their adult plumage, and then a little bit above them is there's another one there as well. Let's have a, can you see it there, Dave? It is over there. That's it over there. Oh, we've got a vulture as well. So Makuti and the battaliers. And that is a Leopard-faced vulture. No, it's not actually. It is not at all. It is far too small. All right, this is interesting. So we're looking for ingwe, and now we've got birds that would also be looking for ingwe, particularly if there was a kill somewhere around here. So if there's nyama around, these birds would have gathered in the dead tree, waiting for an opportunity to feed off it. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit closer. But first, just quickly, let me introduce myself. Now, my name is Jamie, and this afternoon, Dave is behind the camera. We're going to go search for this ingwe and see if we can find it. This little ingwe's name is Tlalamba, and she is only a year old, so still small. Let's see if we can investigate why these birds are all gathered around here. This is where she's been spending lots and lots of her time, so I'm wondering if perhaps she hasn't got a kill somewhere. It is a leopard-faced. Just look very small. Let's see if it's going to be brave enough to stay, since we've got a good view of it. There go the battaliers. They've flown away, but there we go. There's the vulture watching us closely. Vultures are very, very important birds. They serve a very important function. They help to keep the wilderness clean and free of any carcasses that the predators might leave behind. But they are also a bird that is very heavily poached. And there's a lot of beliefs around whether or not their body parts can be used in traditional medicine. But in fact, they are very, very important birds, and they are necessary to help to keep the bush clean. You see the way they're sitting on the dead tree? It's very common to see them on dead trees because they're very heavy birds. So they struggle to actually take off and fly without a little bit of time and space to spread their wings. I can hear some other birds calling off in the distance. I've got a feeling that this ingwe is somewhere here. This leopard is somewhere around here. We just have to look very, very closely because, like all leopards, she is exceptional at hiding herself away. And I'm just listening to the sound of the geese calling, and I'm thinking maybe she might be thirsty. There's some water over there, so we're going to go and investigate in that direction. So we're very, very close now to the Kruger boundary. It's probably, I would say, maybe 2 kilometers away from where we are now. So we're very close to the boundary of Kruger, but of course there are no fences between us and the Kruger National Park. somewhere here. She's hiding somewhere around here. I have absolutely no doubt. Okay, while I search for this little ingwe, James has found an animal that is probably a bit too big for her to hunt at this point.
We've got something lovely over here. Tinongwe. Tinongwe tawansati tinaru. Na tinongwe tawanuna timbiri. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In fact, there's 6. I think it's probably 3 young males, 3 females. And if you listen very carefully, you can hear the oxpeckers calling. Psh, 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 psh. Those are the birds, of course, that sit on their backs and eat all the ticks. No, it looks like 4 females, at least, and a young male. The young male, the one with the horns, of course. What they're doing is trying to find the freshest food that they can to eat, and they're very happy because kudus do not like the winter time. It's a very difficult time for them. And when they don't have leaves, the kudu really have a tough time. And so when summer comes and all the trees get their leaves, the kudu and the nyala do much, much better. That one over there is actually eating something called a green thorn. Lots of very vicious, nasty thorns on it. But they're very careful about not getting hurt. They've also got very tough mouths. They just don't get hurt. They're very lucky. Beautiful. Now it's just starting to get a little bit later. We're about 10 to 6 now, which means that the birds are starting to call before they settle for the night. You can hear rattling testicles. Pss, 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 pss. You can hear Cokie Franklin going. Woodland Kingfishers going. And it's going to get louder and louder as the sun starts to set. Oh, that's obviously a very tasty bush that Mrs. Kudu is eating there. Those leaves have got quite a lot of oil in them, but obviously it doesn't hurt the kudu. Petaji, interestingly, I know, yeah, you're asking about Nyala. You know that these are kudu, you say, but you're interested in where the name Nyala comes from. You'll hear the apocryphal story, and I don't believe it for a second, that Nyala are called Nyala because they have stripes. I mean, I think this is how it goes. Stripes like those of an onion. If you cut an onion open, it looks like it's striped. And the word Nyala in Shangaan is in fact the same one as onion. So Tinyala is onions. I don't think that's true. I think you'll find that Nyala, I don't know where the word comes from, but they're called Nyala all over the place. I don't think it's got anything to do with with onions. But I don't know, other than that I can't tell you where it comes from. Often there are different names for the animals. For example, you know, kudu in Shangaan is Nongwe, and impala is Mala. And in Zulu as well, many of the animals have got different names from the ones that seemingly are African in origin, but are difficult to find in an African language. But Nyala seems to be Nyala. in most places. Right. Oh, there we go. Duncan, all the way from the Dixie community, Melautiva Kudulea Tinamalema Mangaki. Antiv Gatle Tiku Tinongo Tawansa Titinga. They can live until they're about 14. Tawanuna only till they're about 7. And that's get Nongolea Kumeshane Inamalema mas 7 plus minus. Marantiv Gashle. Swatika go. It's very difficult to tell how old a kudu is. Alrighty, let's carry on down the road. Still trying to find a leopard, I hope. So we'll just do our best. Move a bit quicker. See if we can't get down to where the leopard was seen. Leslie, the birds call so much before it gets dark because they're just re-establishing their territories most of the time, A. B, also, it's getting cooler, which means it's not a cost to them to move around. So much the same way that the herbivores will start to graze around about this time of the day. And most activity, well, most of the creatures out here, except the insects who are very tolerant of heat, will be crepuscular. So they'll be active dawn and dusk. There's a bit of light, but it's still quite cool. And I think also the birds establish their territories before they go to sleep, and then they wake up kind of in those territories and re-establish them. During the middle of the day, nobody does very much. A little bit like presenters, don't do very much. Like to have a bit of time off in the day. Hello, McRambro. I was attempting to speak Shangaan. That was the language I was speaking. Not very well, but that's what I was speaking. There is a cinnamon-breasted bunting. Is that not beautiful? I wish it would sit still. It's on the road, Seb. Just in front of us there. There we go. Cinnamon-breasted bunting. And you can see that it has a breast the colour of cinnamon. And it's not quite as attractive as the golden-breasted bunting, of which there have been 5 quite close to camp recently. Beautiful. I always recognize them because it looks like they're wearing those 70s cycling helmets. And there he goes. Okay, on we move. That was the cinnamon-breasted bunting. Yes, Paula, I agree. Very nice to have a stripy head if you're a bunting. I'm glad I don't have a stripy head, however. I think I would look strange. People wouldn't like me very much. Probably wouldn't let me be on camera if I had a stripy head. So yes, all very well if you're a bunting. Not so good if you're a human being. Yes, Sky, indeed, a cinnamon-breasted bunting does sound like breakfast. It would be a very small breakfast. I think you'd still be quite hungry unless you'd had a very big dinner the night before. So yes, although cinnamon-breasted bunting does sound like a breakfast, I think that you would find, well, not very much on cinnamon-breasted bunting if you were to eat it for breakfast, and I cannot vouch for its taste. This is quite fun. On the top of that termite mound, can you see it there? There. I'm going to go a bit forward for you. Yes? There is a little dwarf mongoose surveying the sunset. Isn't that wonderful? Mangonzwana lit. Not Mangonzwana. Sorry. This is not Mangonzwana. It is Matwigitso. Matwigitso. And there will be lots of other Matwigitso inside that termite mound, watching and waiting for the sun to go down. They would have been eating all day. One of the animals, in fact, that isn't particularly good around the middle of the day, at least around crepuscular times. They are quite active in the middle of the day. Let's go across to Jamie now, who's got a bird that we hear non-stop.
Right. Chirr is the sound that this particular bird makes. It's right at the bottom right-hand corner. There you go. No, it's now at the top of your screen. There, perfect. Now it's in the middle. And it has caught something. So all of you will know this bird. It is a woodland kingfisher, and it's only in the last 2 weeks or so that they have traveled all the way from Central and North Africa right back down here to South Africa for the summer, when of course the rain comes and there are lots and lots of insects for them to eat. So this is a bird that you will be used to seeing each and every single year, and I'm sure, like us, you get tired of hearing it call at 4 o'clock in the morning. When it's time to wake up, before it's even light, the kingfisher is awake, going chick, chirr, chick, chirr, outside your bedroom window. I know that you all know what that bird sounds like, and of course, around March, April time, then they all of a sudden, one day, you wake up and they're gone. And they've flown all the way back into the central part. Oh, there he goes. Come back out nicely into the open there. There we are. So that is a woodland kingfisher, and look how beautiful that greeny blue is. The way that the sun is shining on those feathers. And you can see it looking for insects. I wish it could help me look for the leopard, because its eyesight is much, much better than mine. It's eaten something. Now it's cleaning its beak up against the bark of the tree. They're very pretty. Next time you see one, you can stop and look at it a little bit longer and think about just how far it's traveled. It has traveled the distance from here to Johannesburg probably about 15 to 20 times that distance. Deja Vu, you say that you love those colors. I know they are absolutely extraordinary. It is, of course, created not really by pigments, but by the reflection of light in a way that splits the rays of light. So he's going to come back up. I think he got something there, Dave. Yes, somewhere there. Yes, up of it, top of your screen. He's got something. Look at that. You can just see a caterpillar going down. Upright. He's ducking us. There we go. Well done. Looks like it's got a centipede, actually. Good. Eat it. Eat the centipede. Well done, kingfisher. Well done. But yes, we were talking about the colors and the fact that the angle of the light changes what those feathers look like. So in some cases it looks like a dark blue color, and other times it's this sort of turquoise green. And it's made by the layers on the feathers absorbing certain rays of light and reflecting back others, and refracting the light, breaking it up into its different spectrums, creating this truly extraordinary sheen to the feathers. Vumboni, you want to know, and Vumboni is watching at the Dixie, Utah community gathering. You want to know what else that bird eats. Grasshoppers, locusts, crickets, sometimes tiny little frogs if it can catch them, but mostly insects, butterflies, moths, caterpillars, Not millipedes. They don't like millipedes. Most animals don't like the millipedes that you see around and about. But almost all insects, if it can catch it, it will consume them. And of course, caterpillars. It will also eat caterpillars, worms, anything like that. Mantas. If you see a praying mantid around about, it will also eat those. So there are different types of kingfisher. Oh, look, he's calling. Chip, chirr. There's different types of kingfisher, but out here, these ones don't really fish. Such a beautiful call. Prosperity, you want to know if I know this, whether or not this bird is a male or a female. I do not. I can hear another one calling to it, but it's very difficult to tell. There's no clear signs that you're looking at a male or a female, except for a slightly broader bill in the case of the male, but there's very little dimorphism between the male and the female. Both incredibly brightly colored birds. I'm hoping that the other one... No, it's going to go there. I was hoping that it might fly towards the other one that's calling. We'll bring it this way so that we could see the mating dance that they do when they hold their wings open and they dance with each other. That's a male in the field. Chicks. Okay, so we found lots of bits. Found our little leopard, who I'm sure is hiding. Sorry, I'm doing a bird again here. Dave, if you go to the right-hand side of this combretum, so hold on one moment, I think we might have gone a little bit too far. We are a bit to the left of that. There. Not there, a little bit to the left, a little bit more to the left, somewhere there. Here's this little bird that's calling there. It's in that bush there. Ah, there it is at the top of your screen now. Listen closely. That is the call of a rattling cisticola. And sometimes these tiny, tiny little birds are what we use to find leopards. So this is a normal rattling cisticola call. But sometimes what they do is they make a ch-ch-ch sound, and that is the little bird calling to let everybody know that there's a snake or a leopard or something like that. So when we're driving around and we're looking for leopards, we're even listening to the sound of those tiny little birds to tell us whether or not there is something around. But that one's relaxed, making a lot of noise, but not alarm calling. So there is no leopard here, at least not that the cisticola's seen. Okay, well, we just have to keep looking. It's starting to cool down a little bit. The sun is starting to set, which means that a leopard is more likely to be wandering out and about. All right, what we're gonna do, and I know we've just been this way, is we're going to go exactly the same way we've just been, and we're going to go and investigate and see whether or not she's come out. I've just got a feeling she's here. Maybe it's just hope. Maybe it's just desperate, desperate hope. One more time. When you're looking for leopards, obviously, you've got to drive very slowly, because if you drive too fast, you could drive right past them. And sometimes when you're driving slowly, you still drive past them because they're so good at hiding. One more trip around here. Come on, Shamba. I haven't seen it in ages. I can't remember the last. I must have seen close on a month ago. Don't think I've seen her. Chainsaw. Okay. We're going to do one little loop through here to see if we can figure out where she's gone. While we do that, let's find out what James has been busy looking at.
I haven't been looking at much. I went off to see if I could find Tingana maybe on foot. Tingana is a male leopard, Iingwe. But I didn't find anything. So what we're going to do is go now towards the Hyena Den. And we'll be there probably in the next, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. And if we're not lucky there, we'll go back to the lions. But in the meantime, the sun is going down, the colours are beautiful, the leaves are green, the birds are singing. There is one of the singing birds, Sebastian. Do you see it? It's flying away. There it is. It's the chagra. Is it? Yes, there it is. The brown-crowned chagra. And it's flown away. It's got, oh no, there it is. It's got a beautiful, beautiful call. Let me play it for you quickly. It's making a little alarm call. Let me quickly find the call for you. This is what it sounds like. I'm sure it's very confused now. Stop confusing the poor thing. Anyway, that is the brown-crowned chagra. Beautiful sound. Birds at this time of the year are always very special. Kate? You're from Dixie community. How do I know Shangan? Milagtiva Nijonze Queen. Nijonze Londolozi. Kal and Ditire Londolozi. I'm sure Mitwile Londolozi. How? Chegala. So Gunamun le Vitraye Sandro Sitlang in the Jonse ku Bulawula is Changan. Na Renyas Mhlongo, I'm sure Mintiva Renyas Mhlongo. It's a Dixie community na ye na indi Jones Kuvula Wula Changan. And Kumpeshana Mitiva Majombana. It's a Londolozi. All right, so we've got some lovely giraffe here. Quite astonishing sighting of 5 of them. Looks like 5 young bulls. All of them necking. Having a little bit of a bully boy festival. Yep. A group of 5 bull giraffe. That is not something we see here every single day. In fact, it is very rare, I would say, to have 5 bull giraffes here. Wonderful. I've never seen that. Well, not here anywhere. Gorgeous. And they're just kind of standing, well, not watching the sunset go down, but that is what they're doing, but they're actually having their little fight. And while it's not a very serious fight, in the same way that a little wrestling match that you might watch 2 kids having on the playground isn't very serious, it will set the scene for later on, when they're a bit older. Ramona, yes, exactly. A bunch of giraffes is called a herd. That is exactly right. Some people will tell you it's called a journey, which I suppose you could call it if you wanted to, if you felt like being amusing, but it is really called a herd. This would just be, I suppose, 2 giraffes. You wouldn't necessarily call it a herd. You can see it's not a serious fight that they're having. Colin, no, it's not true that giraffe don't sleep. Giraffe definitely sleep from time to time. Not as much as we do, though. You find the bigger the animal is, the less it will sleep. So elephants don't sleep very much at all. They only sleep for about 3 or 4 hours a day. But you'll find a giraffe like this probably sleeps about 5 hours maybe a day. They don't sleep very soundly. So they never sleep completely like we do. But they have to rest. Because if they don't rest, their brains will eventually give up. There you can hear a red-chested cuckoo calling. You can see the fight is really not very serious at all. They're just kind of enjoying, I think, the afternoon. And asserting a little bit of dominance one over the other. Trying to sort out dominance hierarchy. Very beautiful. Like I say, from here we will go to the Hyena Den. Kaya ara timisi. Alrighty, we've got David Gathamagitu back up in the Maasai Mara, and he is going to show you, I don't know what he's going to show you, but it's dark over there, and he'll tell you why.
Well, James will always call me all the names that he likes, but I always like his pronunciation. David Gathumba. I like how he pronounced my names, and I wish one of the days I'm going to record him, and every time I'm a little bit bored or I'm down, I'll play his melodious voice. Now, this to me looks like a very big male here, and next to it is a young female, not knowing what he is thinking, because I guess that girl is just too young there. And it's time now to keep feeding. As elephants, we all know they feed a lot in a day. And not understanding exactly what could be happening. But, you know, females, young girls are able even to mate 8-9 years of age. They are able to mate and conceive. And he has all the intentions, you might think. Look at him. Is it a female? Sorry. Yeah. It's a female with a young calf there. My apologies, I had not looked at the head very well. She's just walking away and the calf following her very closely. She doesn't want to be left behind. Cannot trust anybody out here in the bush. Sometimes things have gone wrong at night. Most likely both of those calves could be hers. She is a very big mama. Initially, I think because of her huge size, I had mistaken her to be a male, but she's just huge and very large tusks. See all beetles and flies now because of the rains you can see on your screen, and some of them are trying to get in my mouth as I speak. I've been fighting with them a few times, and I would imagine we should be having all the owls out now and what else, and the nightjars trying to feed on all these insects that are flying out in the night, because when the rains come, they'll always be out here. Definitely, most likely this could be the matriarch. Dixie, welcome from the Dixie community, Andre rather, and I'm trying to guess that baby elephant could be definitely less than 2 years, because what happened, they'll get the tusks when they get 2 years and above. So I would say it could be slightly bit under an year. That could be just my guess. It's definitely under 1 year. And that's the mother, and she's staying very close to the mother. Dendry, I'm sure you can see, not able to eat grass, or she has chosen not to. Is she trying to pick something for herself? Definitely. So the mother will always try and shield them and keep them on the other side, away from anybody else. And as soon as the mother moves, she also moves quickly. And if she can go under the belly of the mother, definitely that's under 1 year. Very big female there. I would guess this is the matriarch. Rumway, good question, and you'd ask whether I would know the baby is a male or a female. It's always very difficult to tell whether it's a male or female at that particular age. But as they grow bigger, we'll always look on the shape of their foreheads. Females tend to have like flat heads, and the males tend to have like rounded heads. But at that tender age, Rumway, it's very difficult to know whether it's a she or a he. When they're that age, when they're all young, we'll always call them she's, whether it's a boy or a girl, but it'll need maybe another 3, 4 years, 5 years maybe, for us to identify 100% whether it's a male or a female. Like if you look at that fully grown one there, you can see she got like a flat head when you look at the forehead, and that's how we can tell it's a female. If it was a male, the forehead would be a little bit rounded. Elephants eat a lot of food in a day, and sometimes they eat 16, 18 hours in a day. Here they are enjoying some nice meal of grass because it's cool. We have had some good rains. And you notice, because they use their ears a lot to flap to cool off, they're not doing that because it's not as hot at the moment. We could be doing maybe mid-50s Fahrenheit. Sometimes they'll stop and they will listen. The matriarch is always the lead female. In all elephant herds, there'll be one female managing the whole group. Some good question, what does the baby elephant eat? Number one, because she's still very young, she'll be drinking milk from the mother. She'll keep drinking that until maybe 2-3 years, and then she'll start getting introduced to grass. But in general, when still very, very young, they'll always drink milk from their mothers. But as they get older, they'll start eating very soft grass. The mother will introduce to them very soft leaves. Slowly, they can eat hard grass, and then they can eat also hard leaves. And sometimes they also mature or qualify to start eating small twigs. And then as they grow older, they'll just eat like their mothers. But when they're still young, always drinking mother's milk, because the digestive system is still very delicate and they cannot eat anything very solid. At times we have seen baby elephants eating their mother's poop because it's always having like semi-digested food, because when elephants eat, they do not digest their food very well. So some of the food come out semi-digested, which is a bit soft for the calves, and you'll always see the young ones eating their poo because they're eating maybe the grass the mother might have chewed halfway, and then they tag along with the mothers, go have a drink. Very nice for you boys and girls to keep asking us questions. When you have some nice comment like saying, "Ooh, that's a very big elephant," please send them through. I'm sure you know you can do that through your teachers. And look at the size of those tusks. See how big they are. We make jokes here and we say when you see an elephant lifting the trunk up like that, is always a sign of good luck. Now we're going to move forward and maybe, oh, there are more elephants there. Very good, Manu. African elephants, both males and females, have those tusks that you're seeing there, but the Asian or the Indian elephant, you will see the tusks only in the males and not in the females. And always moving in groups of what you call herds. Now, because they have gone, we're also going to move on and maybe find out if you might see more interesting things for you in front. It's dark, and you have noticed I was using infrared, and infrared will always help us not to influence the behavior of the animals. Appeal, very good question, and you'd like to know how many times does an elephant give birth in 1 year? Well, I'll surprise you if I tell you it's not only in 1 year, because in 1 year the elephant is still carrying the baby. So the elephant takes almost 2 years to have a baby, and specifically 22 months. You can imagine, Appeal, 22 months to have a baby. So by 1 year it will still be carrying the baby, and maybe almost to the end of the second year she'll still be carrying that baby. So we could say it's every 4 years that she'll have a baby, and not every year, unlike other animals that are small, like say antelopes. But an elephant will take almost 2 years to have one baby. It's a long time to carry a baby, isn't it? Okay, so I was talking about infrared, and infrared helps us not to influence the behavior of animals. Like if you look in front of me now, I have my lights on, and that just helps me to make sure I don't get in a hole, and making sure I also don't hit an animal. And once I see an animal, I'll switch off my light, and then I'm going to use infrared. Let's go back to South African Jamie and find out her latest.
I'm not in infrared yet because we are an hour behind the Maasai Mara, and it is midsummer, so the sun is still up until late and up early in the morning. It's my favorite time of year. I love the long days. I love getting up early before it gets light, and then enjoying my time out here when everything is nice and cool and beautiful and covered with dew. Now, we are still searching for leopards, but we're not having very much luck. What we've done is we've come to a very, very thick area where there's lots and lots of trees. It's a drainage line, so it's a dried river system. And this is where leopards like to hide. Now, I've heard that earlier today a leopard crossed into this direction. I'm hoping we might get lucky as it gets a bit darker and as they start to move about a little bit cooler. I've moved away from where Tlalamba was because we were struggling a little bit with the signal. We were disappearing. So we've come back here to investigate. Now this there didn't used to be a road here. This used to be one of the best kept secrets of Djuma, this little grove. This was where we used to find leopards all the time. There's a lovely water hole. It's a bit green, but that doesn't bother leopards. And by the looks of things, I'm not the only one searching this area, because I can see some giraffe across on the other side of the bank, and I think that those are the same giraffe that James saw a little bit earlier. So I think James is also searching this spot. And we're all looking for leopards together. That's okay, because the more we search, the more likely we are to find something. Yeah, that's definitely the same giraffe that James saw. Also a group of males. Beautiful. Now, you can even use giraffe to look for lions and leopards. These ones are unfortunately disappearing. They're quite far away, and they are disappearing into even denser vegetation. But you can use them to help you to find predators. So when giraffe spots something like a leopard or a lion, they stare with their ears out very intently in the direction of the leopard. And that is very useful in helping us to find them. But those giraffe look perfectly relaxed. They don't look like they've seen a leopard at all. Okay, where to next? I think we're going to go down into an even bigger river system where there's lots of food around, there's lots of prey around, and therefore there's lots of leopards as well. Hopefully. That's the theory. And if we don't find a leopard, that's okay too, because there's lots of other things to find. Remember, if you do have any questions, you can send them through on hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. Alternatively, you can use the YouTube chat stream. I'm sure we can think of something. Hold on. Nope, that's a hyena that walked along this road. So obviously we're always looking for tracks, but in this case, it was not a leopard's paws, it was a hyena's tracks. Now Paul has come up with a very interesting question, which is actually quite appropriate. We saw a very hot red-billed hornbill, and you want to know if birds sweat. They don't sweat, but they do pant. So very similar to what you see cat dogs doing when they go they do something similar with their nasal passages. So they breathe in and out quite quickly, very rapidly, and in that way they manage to cool themselves down. Alright, I have some very exciting news. We've been looking for leopards all afternoon, and the wonderful, marvelous news is that James has found one for you.
There he is, everybody. Hosana, the male leopard, has returned from Chitwa, where he was yesterday. Chitwa, reserved to the south of us, and that's where we had him. We didn't have him yesterday, somebody else had him yesterday. And he's obviously come all the way back home sometime during the course of today, which is very nice. He's walking straight towards one of the little houses we have here called Inga's house. I'll just try and get in front of him through this warren of Artvark burrows. There we go. That's very nice to see. And I know a lot of you will be excited to see him, especially as we were quite worried that he was going to live on Chitwa, that his father had headed down there. But maybe he will remain here. Now, for those of you in Dixie, lava said vale Dixie, lava ingwelea inamalembe manaru. Ita ina birthday hi February. And ingwelea imranza ngopfu, imtiva ngopfu. Right, let's carry on. Ivitraye Hosana. Hosi nzongo Hosana iyo vitraye. There we go. And if you listen very carefully, you can hear a Wahlberg's eagle shouting at him as well. Alright, Nina la sedixi, itavonana sikrungwanyane, itsake ngopu kumivona namunhla kumiteka la inoveni, kumishana mita pakasha kwalana na hina siku ringwanyane. Bye bye. Alrighty, well there's Hosanna, everybody. Now, what we didn't want to show the kids, just not because they're kids, but because, for a lot of them, the magnificence of Africa, I think, needs to be shown in all its glory. And so we left one of the mangy Mungyan males not far from here. You might pick him up on the dam cam if it's up. I'm not sure if it's up at the moment. But he's really not looking good, and I think he's on his way out. And Hosanna is not far from that at all. Brent Leo Smith, who's having the afternoon off, is standing in the garden of Inga's house, topless, with a very relaxed look on his face, and he heard some alarm calls and alerted us to the possible presence of a predator in this area, and we hoped it was this guy, but it actually was the Mungyan male. Go ahead, I'm just on the Game Drive radio. Hosanna now at Inga's house, just in front of Inga's. Let me just put the guard in proper gear. Might be very lucky to get a glimpse of Brent Leo Smith actually. There he is. Hello, Brent. We have a leopard here. Brent's having an apple juice with Ali. Go. Sorry, everybody. Let's just get into position. Here we are. He is just to the west of Twin Dams Road, about 200 meters south of the Pan. He's near Inga's house. Go ahead. We're just trying to get some of the newer guides from Cheetah Plains into the sighting. We also can never tell whether they're coming, because they're driving these wonderful electric vehicles that make no sound at all. Takes I'm basically in Inga's garden. I'm about 30 meters to the east of Inga's garden. Sorry, these people just are not listening on the radio. Whew. Hosanna, Hosanna. He's now so upset that I've had to say his name so many times. Isn't he a magnificent fellow? I might try an illegal photograph quickly. Okay, sorry everybody. I know the game drive is really just being a complete pain now. Stations, we've got two animals here. One animal is the Mungyan male. He is on the road between the Pan and quarantine. We have left that animal. He is static. He does not look good. Then we have got Hosanna on a termite mound just to the east of Inga's house by about 40 meters, static on a termite mound. Now, I hope that was clear enough. I didn't even think we called in that lion, did we?
No.
I don't think I did, but they said they thought that I was looking at a lion. Anyway, we have Hosanna. He's a leopard. I can see that because of the length of his whiskers. That's how you tell the difference between a lion and a leopard. Lions have longer whiskers. Not sure why he's wandered up here. I wonder if he is not aware of that mangy Mungan male lion. Quite possibly around here. And being followed by Hosanna. Good, Connie, thank you very much. So you heard me loud and clear. You'd be in the minority, I have to tell you. You would be in the minority. It's one of the most difficult things to learn to do on a game drive is pay attention to the radio so that you don't keep having to ask people what on earth is going on. Anyway, it's even more inconvenient when you're trying to spin a yarn to our wonderful viewers and it keeps going in your head. Now, like I was saying, before the barrage assailed my ears, these Cheetah Plains vehicles are utterly silent because they are electric. And I'm very glad somebody's gone down the road of doing the experiment. We are slightly unconvinced that they have the power they need, but certainly they are wonderfully silent things. It really is quite something to be in a sighting with them. It's great. Okay, let's leave young... Oh no, we're not going to leave Hosanna. You're going to leave Hosanna. We're going to stay with him. You're going to go over to David in the Maasai Mara with a small carnivore, but not the smallest.
Well, I think I've got some special carnivore here. I don't know where it has disappeared to, but let's see. Yeah, there it is, and that's a mongoose. They tend to come out at night, and this particular one is the white-tailed mongoose, and definitely looking for any insect or any mammal it can lay her hands on. Always very shy, very difficult to see them during the day. Mind you, me back up a little bit, or move forward. Okay, let me just move back a little bit. Just moved, and let me see. Keep coming. I can see very well there. So it's white-tailed mongoose. They're these animals that always come out at night, and we see them like now, and white-tailed mongoose is one of them. It's pretty difficult to reverse the proper lights. You think, man, we have done it? Or keep coming? Try. So let's see if they can find her again. We're going to first use the spotlight. Let's see how far she has gone. That was an insect, not her. I may use just my light a little bit so they can trace her. Once we trace her, I'll switch it off. Or she might have ended up in getting into a hole to feed herself. No, she's definitely gone. Trying to see if she's anywhere in those bushes there. Kind of carnivores, meat eating. Where are you, white-tailed mongoose? And you always see them on their own. They're very solitary mongooses, and unlike the banded ones or the dwarf mongoose that will go in big groups, 5, 20, 50 of them together, the white-tailed, you always see them on their own. Unless, of course, it's a pair, a male and a female, either during the breeding time or when they're mating. But I think she must have gotten her, herself something to eat and maybe devouring whatever, she got. We're just going to keep moving on. And I have all these flies, all these beetles that I'm trying to fight as they're trying to get into my mouth when I'm talking or into my eyes. I caught one right inside my eye, and somehow when you try to remove them, they either get traumatized and they pee on you, or some kind of liquid that's very acidic and very irritating leaves you in your eye. And every time you keep, trying to rub your eye, it gets worse, and it's very irritating. At one point, I was driving with one of my eyes like that, and after some time, it gets teary, and it clears up. Well, time to look for all the night movers, anybody who could be on the road. Apparently this area we are on now is a bit west than where we are coming from, where we had the sausages, the sausage lions, and this area it seems must have rained, unlike where we came from, where we did not get a drop of rain. We could only see lightning and we could hear thunderstorms very huge from where we were, but I think this is the area that was raining. It happens a lot in one area like the Mara Triangle, which is very huge. You could get rain in a particular area and not another. I'm not sure those are hyenas, Manu. Will you look, if I stop there, Manu? Getting some pack of hyenas here on the road, and Manu have suggested I stop because you've got a wonderful camera. And the area we are in now is an area that we call the Happy Zebra Clan. And I think that is the leader. Yes, and it's called Pike. That's the commander of the Happy Zebra Clan. The matriarch there. We've got 3 major clans of hyenas that we follow here in the Mara Triangle. This is one of them, and you can see because she got a collar, she definitely must be the commander. And that reminds me of Waffles. That's a youngster there moving. Busy day and night. It could be time either to think of getting a meal, or they're trying to smell something or pick any slight sound from would-be, say, lions could have killed, a prey, and then they'll definitely go and snatch it. They have done that a number of times. But this particular clan is not as, I would say, fierce like the North Clan. The North Clan do not give any pride of lions or coalition of lions chance. As soon as the would-be lions make a kill, they'll always go and snatch their prey. Pike, what are you up to? And I'm trying to compare her with Waffles. And we got some news. There's some ladies from Michigan University who have been researching hyenas. Brent, thank you for your comment. And you're saying, yes, this must be the commander. And truly she is. You can see from the size. She's quite, commanding in terms of her body and the way she is behaving. Her body language tells you a lot. And look at all the other hyenas laying there and maybe waiting for the instruction from the commander. You go left, you go right. It's time to move. We need to get some food in this particular area. Pike, do something. Trying to compare her to Waffles, as I was talking about earlier. Waffles to me is always more alive, more active, moving a lot. But Pike, I have not followed her very well or for a long time. And there she goes. Pike, what do you want to do? Do you just have a big belly, or are you pregnant, Pike? Funny how those ladies who have been researching these hyenas named this clan the Happy Zebra Clan, that they found them eating or feasting on a zebra and the mouth looks very open. Well, do you want to do some greetings there? And the zebra seems still to be smiling, and that's how they ended up calling this particular clan the Happy Zebra Clan. A very submissive, typical of hyenas when they do their very creepy greetings. They always lift their back or their hind leg, and you get them sniffing each other. Not sure I've seen other animals behaving like that. Commander, where do you want to go? And somehow once she moves, the rest of the clan might also want to follow her. For those who have never joined us before, this clan is called the Happy Zebra Clan, and we're in the Mara Triangle in Kenya. Hello there. And they emphasize, or they carry so much power, the matriarchs. I was talking earlier of the Waffles, is another clan not very far from here, well, about another 3-5 miles, and there's a rumor that she might be getting overthrown by her granddaughter. Smajo, good question. Do you have access to the collars on these hyenas? Not really, but the researchers who have been working on this, they got access, and they'll always once in a while get the data and they will know what's happening. We may not be able to do that, but the researchers from the Michigan University, as I said, will always come talk to us and they'll always tell us what they have found out. As I said now, the North Clan, they have they think the granddaughter of the commander, which is called Dwarf Force, they think she might be overthrowing her grandmother. Well, very quickly go back to James with Hosanna in South Africa.
Righty, well there is Hosanna. You can see the night creeping up over the eastern horizon there, and you might even be able to hear the sound of the great Hardidar ibis going as the regal prince does what he does best, and that is pose for the camera. You may hear some gasps of delight from a guest vehicle close by. They're all going, "Oh, he's beautiful." He is beautiful, of course. There's his little injury that we think he got from the lion. You can see it's healing nicely. That's it. Giving him no trouble at all. Looks a little bit like he's been to the barber, I feel. He's got very short, neat hair, suddenly. I suppose he always has had. Wonderful. Just looking around, seeing if there's something he might like to devour. A baby impala, perhaps. I'm so pleased he's back here. What has he seen? Is your father coming back, Hosanna? No. Rookie SA, if Hosanna comes across the mangy male lion, I'm not sure what he'll do. I think he'll just back off. You know, that mangy male lion may look like he's on the verge of death, but there's nothing like the absolute proximity of death to make an animal really give it a last sort of thrashing effort, if you like. So although that male lion doesn't look like it's going to move again, you wouldn't want to take a chance. And he's quite small, probably though about the size of small lioness, so about 100 kilograms or so, whereas this chap, of course, is only about 50 kilos. All right, now we're going to stay here. Jamie is not far from here. She's found those mating male lions. Not mating male lions. Just go to Jamie.
I found the mating lions. It wasn't difficult. I knew where they were. I'm not even sure if that counts as finding so much as following directions. What is entertaining is the way this lioness has climbed under a guarri bush in order to evade the attention of the males. Oh, no, don't go and mate behind us. Oh, you are going to go and mate behind us. One thing that's immediately apparent is that she is really desperately trying to eat some grass. And oh, why did you do that? He is completely oblivious to her discomfort. She's trying to eat grass to ease her stomach, probably because she's actually quite hungry. And there's a bit of build-up of stomach acid. And that's why she is... Oh, she's so frustrated. She's so cross with him. No, not right behind us. Goodness gracious. Oh, you horrible cats. This is not going well. Now what I'm hoping is, now that we're approaching evening, is that we are going to hear him roar now. There seem to be mating lions all over the show. She is now rolling on her back in the instinctive way of lionesses just after they mate. And he is scent marking a guarri bush, all of which could potentially be preludes to a lovely roar to finish off our sunset safari. Now, I'm sorry, James, I didn't mean to nick the lions from you. I thought you were going to stay with Hosanna, so I was just going to I was going to come spend the last few minutes with them. I hope I haven't nicked his lines. I didn't mean to. Right, well, that was... First of all, did it have to be behind the vehicle? Yes, of course it did. Let me just drive forward and turn around, so at least we're prepared if they decide to get up and start moving. And secondly, that was quite a protracted mating process because he didn't actually get it right in the beginning. It took him a little while to get there. So it's only when he starts making that strange high-pitched noise that the mating is actually successful. He just shot me such a look as if he is so unimpressed with my discussion of his technique. Don't worry, boy. You've got plenty of time to practice. Plenty and plenty time. I don't think this is the evoker male that's not 100% relaxed with cars. I've noticed that there's one in particular that is a little bit not uncomfortable, just not as relaxed as, say, the Nkuhumas. Look how he's standing over her. I couldn't believe it this afternoon when Rex said there was actually another mating pair of lions not far from these guys. And then when somebody reported another pair a bit to the north of us in Buffelshoek, well, all three evokers have got plenty to keep themselves occupied. Well, I assume it's an evoker mating to the north of us. I guess assumptions are dangerous. We don't know that with 100% certainty. I would assume so, though. I know that you saw both pairs here, but you didn't see the third pair in Buffelshoek. Apparently there was a third pair as well. And that's the one I'm wondering about and the reason I'm wondering about him is because somebody called in an evoker male this morning all the way towards the Manyeleti boundary. Now that, of course, could also have been a mistake. Could have been a misidentification, could even have been one of the Torchwood males, the older Torchwood male. Come on, nice roar in this beautiful evening light to finish off this evening. Sounds like such a nice idea. Okay, we're going to sit and wait it out. Becoming less and less likely by the moment. Let's go to see whether or not Hassan is being more entertaining.
There is Hosanna. He is now very sleepy. Poor little fellow. While I've been sitting here, you've been with the lions. I must just quickly tell you something I've read because it's so astounding that I have to tell you. It's got nothing to do with leopards at all. No, right, you all know, of course, that male praying mantids are often eaten by the females after mating. Now I'm going to read to you. This happens so frequently that male mantids have adapted to the situation and mate equally well, with or without a head and thorax. The hind legs and abdomen of the male are autonomously programmed so that if one should turn the hind body upside down on the female, the legs will feel around and bring the hind body into position again. The hind body will then re-engage and continue copulating. Ain't nature absolutely astounding? So basically what the author is saying there is that if a male mantid approaches a female, I know it's got nothing to do with the sighting we're having, but it's too astounding not to repeat. If the male mantid approaches the female and she's hungry and he starts mating with her, she turns around, she starts eating his head, which is often what happens. She will eat the head and the thorax, and the abdomen, where the important bits for mating are, will just keep on mating with her for a period because it contains all the information in it, all the nerve endings with the correct, I guess, information in them for what to do. If you separate them, in other words, if you twist the male's abdomen around and put it in the wrong place on the female, it will crawl back into place and continue copulating.
And without the head?
No head, no thorax.
Wow.
The hind legs and abdomen are autonomously programmed to procreate. Now that is absolutely astounding. Sharon, I'm not sure I'm allowed to repeat your comment, but I'm going to anyway. You say he's thinking with his small brain. Well, it's very effective. From a Darwinian perspective, it's extremely effective. Anyway, Horsana is, well, he's posing, but unfortunately he keeps looking the other way. Deja vu, I knew something like this was going to come through. You say it sounds like the perfect male. Well, I'm sorry you feel like that, Deja vu. I'd like to think I have more to offer than just the bottom half of my abdomen and my legs. I wouldn't take a very good game drive if that's all I had. Especially if you've seen my legs. Yes, my legs really aren't much to go on. Thank you, Horsana. We're trying to make some TV here and you keep looking away. That's better. Thank you. I'm sure he can smell that male, you know, because the lions, or the lion is, or was, just northwest of us. I think it's actually moved now because the impala started alarm calling not far from here. So I'm sure he does sniff lion on the breeze. If lions indeed do smell. Alright, we're going to go back to Jamie now. Their lions are up and about, and of course if a male and a female are together, we know what that means.
Well, do we? Because I have to say, it looks as though this couple has reached the end of their tether with each other. I think if they've got another night together, that would be a lot. She could not be less interested. Well, I've noticed that a lot with females in estrus. She really just wants to eat some salad. That is all she wants to do. Okay, now we've moved over there. He, of course, is still well and truly focused on his goal, which, of course, is creating the next little generation of Nkuhumas and Avokas. Which way are we going? She's just desperately trying to rejoin her pride mates. Oh, that's very pretty. The two of them walking together. Let's see if they're going to mate again, or if she's going to escape him. He stopped to bark his territory. Now he's got to walk quickly to catch up with her. No, don't take us into this thick block now. Okay, hold on. We're going to catch up and follow them. I think we've got one last mating in store. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Ah! No, we've gone to sleep. Oh, panic over. Crisis averted. She's gone to sleep. No mating for him. And he is going to stand guard over her for the time being. Yes, indeed. Lou has mentioned that perhaps her headache has come back. Shame, I think she's really hungry. We make light of it, but it's a process that does really have an impact on them. It's amazing how that drive to produce the next generation means foregoing food, foregoing territorial markings, foregoing sleep. All for this constant mating process between lions who actually don't know each other terribly well. But they will. They will come to know each other very well if the Avokas do stay on, which I suspect is looking more and more likely by the day. I would say that the Avoka males are here to stay. Can't wait for the first new generation. Oh, Lion cubs again, Darby. Darby and I had this truly spectacular experience when we first started using infrared lights. So it was about 2 years ago now. Oof, I can't remember when it was. But we started experimenting with infrared lights. And we were sitting with the Nkuhumas, the Birminghams, and all the little cubs. And we were in pitch dark. We didn't have the presenter light on or anything. We couldn't see a thing. And the lions were walking right next to us and around us. The cubs were playing next to us and roaring. And it was something that I will remember for the rest of my life, that experience. Darby says me too. Oh, it was special. Our live safaris, of course, are full of special moments just like that. Sometimes they're quiet, but they make the extraordinary moments even better. And that, of course, brings us to the end of our sunset safari. We will see you tomorrow morning for our sunrise safari, and who knows what the day has in store for us. Thank you so much for joining us and sending through your questions and comments. We'll see you then in just a few short hours.